Imagine a show that questions the very fabric of existence and reality itself. Yes, we're talking about Rick and Morty. This isn't your average cartoon. It's a mind-bending exploration of the cosmos, filled with tongue-in-cheek humor and existential dread. Nihilism, the belief that life is without objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value, is a recurring theme in the show. So strap in for a philosophical rollercoaster ride through the multiverse. It's time to unpack the big question: what role does nihilism play in Rick and Morty? Before we delve into the show, let's get on the same page about what nihilism actually is. At its core, nihilism is a philosophy, a way of viewing the world, that argues that life, at its essence, lacks objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value. It's like staring into an abyss and realizing that the abyss is not only staring back at you, but it's also shrugging. Nihilism suggests that traditional values, moral codes, and beliefs are unfounded, and that existence itself, all action, suffering, and feeling, is ultimately senseless and empty. Pretty bleak, right? But don't fret, nihilism isn't all about doom and gloom. It's also about freedom. The freedom to create your own purpose, to find your own meaning, in a universe that's indifferent to your existence. Now that we understand nihilism, let's see how it paints the universe of Rick and Morty. Rick Sanchez, the eccentric scientist and walking paradox, is our main exhibit in this exploration. Rick is not only the protagonist of the series, but also a brilliant manifestation of nihilistic philosophy. He's a genius scientist with an unfathomable intellect and a seemingly endless list of inventions that defy the laws of nature. Yet despite his capabilities, he's perpetually dissatisfied and disillusioned. His dismissive attitude towards societal norms, disregard for human life, and constant existential dread paint a vivid picture of nihilism. Let's take a look at his infamous catchphrase, "Wubba lubba dub dub," which translates to, "I am in great pain, please help me." This seemingly light-hearted phrase hides a deep-seated despair and a cry for help, a hallmark of a nihilistic perspective. In the episode Pickle Rick, he turns himself into a pickle to avoid therapy. This act of extreme absurdity is Rick's attempt to escape from the meaninglessness he perceives in his life and the world around him. It's a stark illustration of his nihilistic tendencies. In the Ricks Must Be Crazy, Rick creates an entire universe just to power his car battery, showing a complete disregard for the existence of other beings. This further underscores his nihilistic worldview, where nothing has inherent value or meaning. As we can see, Rick's character is steeped in nihilistic undertones, but he's not the only one. Rick might be the poster boy for nihilism in the show, but the concept extends far beyond him. Let's take a moment to look at the wider universe of Rick and Morty. This cosmos is a playground of chaos and indifference, where countless planets and species exist for no apparent purpose. Each adventure, no matter how grand or perilous, often ends up feeling arbitrary, as if the universe itself shrugs off the significance of any event. Consider the character of Morty, for example. Despite being the co-protagonist, he is constantly tossed around by the whims of Rick's adventures, rendering his own desires and actions seemingly pointless. Then there's Summer, Beth, and Jerry, each grappling with their own existential crises, often concluding that life lacks inherent meaning. And let's not forget the Meeseeks, creatures born to serve a single purpose and vanish, highlighting the absurdity of existence. So nihilism is a pervasive theme in Rick and Morty, but what does this mean for us viewers? Watching Rick and Morty, we're often left contemplating the meaning of life and our place in the universe. The show doesn't shy away from the big questions, the ones that keep us up at night. You see, Rick and Morty, in its own quirky way, encourages us to find our own subjective meaning in life, even when there seems to be an apparent absence of an objective one. This brings us to the philosophy of absurdism, a potential counter to nihilism. Absurdism suggests that life is inherently meaningless, but that doesn't mean we can't create our own purpose. It's about embracing the absurd, the nonsensical, the downright ridiculous aspects of existence, and finding joy, meaning, and purpose within them. In the end, Rick and Morty might be a nihilistic show, but it encourages us to embrace the absurdity of life and make our own meaning. Now, isn't that a thought worth pondering?